Lil Jeff's funeral should have been a moment of grief, but in Chicago's drill culture, even death doesn't earn you peace. As loved ones gathered to mourn,
They call Q50 slide right here, man. This is what they call him slide.
and his enemies saw an opportunity, not to pay respects, but to mock his legacy in the most ruthless ways. From cryptic social media posts to chilling messages left at the scene, the disrespect was relentless. But the real question is, was this just disrespect, or was there a deeper message behind it all? Lil Jeff's death, trolled by Trap City. When the news hit on June 9th, 2024, that Lil Jeff had been gunned down, the drill scene erupted in chaos. Jeff, a young legend whose name rang bells in the trenches, was gone. But this wasn't just another death in the streets. This was a full-blown war. And his funeral turned into a battlefield of emotions, disrespect, and straight-up trolling from his ops. The day after Jeff's death, the air was thick with grief and rage. His family was shattered. His brother, Jay Boogie, was on the verge of losing his mind, pacing back and forth, staring at pictures of Jeff like he was waiting for him to walk through the door. Jeff's dad took to social media, posting throwback pics of Jeff with his half-brothers, captioning it, "Fuck the world." It was the raw, unfiltered pain of a father who lost his son to the same streets Jeff once ruled. But nobody felt the pain more than Q50, Jeff's right-hand man and cousin. Q50 was there when Jeff took his last breath, riding with him to the hospital after the shootout. The bond between them was unbreakable, brothers by blood and by the streets. Q50 called Jeff his twin and vowed to keep his promise, revenge. Surveillance footage of the shooting later leaked, and it was pure chaos. Jeff, Q50, and another shooter had rolled up on South Rhodes Avenue, a street Jeff had rapped about countless times. They caught one of their ops, a dude in bright yellow shorts later identified as Man Man, slipping outside a house. Jeff hopped out of the car, guns blazing, chasing Man Man toward the porch, but Jeff didn't see it coming. Someone inside the house opened fire, hitting Jeff before he could even make it up the steps. He fell to the ground and the shooters emptied an entire magazine into him. Reports said Jeff was hit 19 times and 58 shell casings were found at the scene. It was a bloodbath. Q50 and the driver tried to return fire, but Q50 slipped and injured his ankle, limping back to the car. When they realized Jeff was gone, they made the heart-wrenching decision to leave his body behind. But not for long. In a daring move, they spun the block, scooped Jeff's lifeless body, and rushed him to the hospital. It was too late. On June 22nd, Lil Jeff's funeral was held, and it was an emotional roller coaster. The flower arrangements, the funeral program, and pictures of Jeff in his casket flooded social media. His girlfriend paid tribute by dropping the Y in front of his flower arrangement, a subtle nod to their bond. The program painted Jeff as a happy, intelligent kid who loved basketball, music, and video games. It spoke of his love for his family, his niece Jala, and his girlfriend Peyton. It ended by thanking attendees for coming to his last concert. But the streets don't do peaceful goodbyes. A fight broke out between some women at the service, rumored to be Jeff's girlfriend and his side chick. Clips of the altercation went viral, adding more drama to an already tense day. While Jeff's family mourned, his ops from Trap City celebrated. They wasted no time mocking his death, flooding Instagram with posts reenacting the shooting. They laughed at how Jeff got caught slipping, throwing subliminal shots at Q50 for failing to save him.
They call Q50 slide right here, man. This is what they call him slide now, man. We can slide. He's right there.
Trap City rappers even dropped bars ridiculing Jeff's demise. One rapper wrote, "He was trying to deliver smoke, ended up in the clouds." Another mocked Q50's desperate gunfire at a passing car, rapping, "Bro fell and shot at the wind. He ain't hit a thing." But the disrespect didn't stop there. Trap City Rob, the man suspected of killing Jeff, suddenly became a local legend. Old songs of his resurfaced, including a 2020 track called What a Feeling. At the time of its release, it barely made noise, but now it was blowing up. Reddit was flooded with fans dissecting the lyrics, treating the situation like a sport. Comments about the shooting spread across social media like wildfire. Some users hailed Trap City Rob as the defensive player of the year, saying he protected the porch at all costs. Others joked that Jeff had delivered the mail, but Unk said return to sender. A new Reddit community, R Trap City Unk Gang, was created to honor Rob and his crew. Members called themselves Porch Defender Nation, PDN, with posts like, "When the bloody hounds start misbehaving, call Team Unk." Some even made a mock list of Rob's accomplishments, claiming he had neutralized his ops and kept the porch safe. Even the dude Jeff had been chasing Man became a meme. Users joked about his maxed out speed stats and called him Flash Unk for escaping Jeff's bullets. The situation was brutal, but for the internet, it was entertainment. Lil Jeff's funeral was supposed to be a day of closure, but it turned into a spectacle of disrespect and drama. His ops used the moment to mock him, while his family and Q50 were left to pick up the pieces. The streets don't forgive, and they don't forget. Meanwhile, Jeff's dad didn't see the funny side of the whole debacle, considering he just lost his son and he made Trap City members know that they would soon get what was coming for them. Jeff's dad would even respond on Facebook with an eerie post saying, "Let it be known y'all didn't get him. He came trying to get y'all, and what happened happened, but the saga continues. Clear the streets." With some in the comments in disbelief that a father would be talking about his son like he was one of his homies in the gang, branding Jeff's father a goofy who actually failed his child. Even after Jeff was laid to rest, the feud was far from over, with tension still running high among rival factions. A mural dedicated to Jeff was reportedly created, only to be vandalized by Trey mob members who recorded themselves destroying it. Just hours later, reports surfaced that 2 Trey mob members had been shot in retaliation. Chicago streets have seen this cycle before, but Jeff's death and the mockery from Trap City members have ignited a new level of hostility. Still, one has to wonder what started this dangerous type of hostility that has no respect for even the dead, and how young men only separated by streets will be so determined to kill one another. The Bloodhound versus Trap City feud. In the violent streets of Chicago, a brutal conflict between the Bloodhounds and Trap City has claimed numerous lives and left a lasting impact on the community. What began as a seemingly manageable disagreement spiraled into a deadly gang war, fueled by betrayal, revenge, and the pursuit of control over both the streets and the drill music scene. The feud has not only resulted in bloodshed, but has also shaped the lives of those involved, including the tragic death of Lil Jeff, a rising figure in the Bloodhounds and the rap world. Initially, the Bloodhounds, Trap City, Drill City, 400 East, MTV 079, and Chris World, were united under a coalition known as Bloodhound 0679. Formed over 10 years ago, this alliance aimed to strengthen these groups by combining their resources and manpower to protect their territories from rival gangs. For a time, the pact held, allowing them to maintain dominance in their neighborhoods and collaborate in the growing drill music scene. However, tensions began to simmer in 2023 when members of Drill City allegedly stole a chain from a Trap City affiliate. The chain, engraved with 67 stalking, symbolized Trap City's identity and pride, making the theft a profound disrespect in the eyes of its members. The incident shattered the fragile trust within the alliance. Trap City, feeling betrayed, demanded accountability, but most of the other sets sided with Drill City, leaving Trap City isolated. Furious over the perceived disloyalty, Trap City severed ties with Bloodhound 0679 and declared open conflict. This marked the beginning of a vicious cycle of violence that would claim numerous lives and deepen the divide between the groups. One of the first significant casualties of this feud was Zmony, a Bloodhound affiliate and cousin to Lil Jeff and Q50, both of whom were emerging talents in the drill music scene. On March 16, 2023, Zmony was sitting in a car on the 1300 block of East 79th Street when Trap City members ambushed him. They opened fire, striking Zmony 29 times in a hail of bullets. Rumors circulated that someone close to Zmony had betrayed him by sharing his location with Trap City, enabling the attack. In honor of Z-Money, both Jeff and Q50 got tattoos of his name above their eyes, along with multiple Z symbols inked on their index fingers, also known as trigger fingers. Despite ongoing speculation, Z-Money's murder remains unsolved. However, online rumors suggest that the Bloodhounds believe their former allies from Trap City were responsible for the hit. This murder ultimately fractured the long-standing 0679 alliance that had united the two groups for over a decade. In response to Z-Money's murder, some young Bloodhounds hinted that his killer was already incarcerated, which prevented them from retaliating directly. This led to speculation that the shooter might have been a Trap City rapper named Lil Cap, who is still alive. Some even pointed out that Lil Cap had a song with Ver and JB Bin Laden in December 2021, where Lil Jeff made a brief cameo. Prior to the fallout, Jeff and Q50 had allegedly even been retaliating on behalf of Trap City. In July 2022, a supposed Trap City member known as Buck, or Bucko, was killed during an altercation at a house party in Trap City's neighborhood. The 0679 Alliance took Buck's death hard and sought revenge. In the now-deleted music video OPK by Ver and Jeff, which can only be found in a reaction video, Ver raps about sliding after Buck's death while shouting out Jeff and Q50. Jeff also rapped about avenging Bucko and mentioned that the retaliation was swift. However, after Z-Money's murder, the Bloodhounds became fully committed to seeking revenge. In June 2023, Jeff and his Bloodhound gang allegedly killed Leal, a respected member of Trap City, while Leal was sitting in an Uber. The murder was a bold act of retaliation that further escalated the feud and solidified Lil Jeff's reputation as a dangerous and determined figure within the Bloodhounds. In the aftermath, Bloodhound members took to social media and music videos to mock Leal's death, taunting Trap City and intensifying the animosity between the groups. Meanwhile, the violence wasn't one-sided. At some point after Z-Money's murder, Q50 himself was targeted in a shooting, suffering a gunshot wound to his leg. He referenced this incident in his song Coffin, which was released with a music video in June 2023. His mother later confirmed the shooting in November 2023, stating on social media that she had almost lost her son that year. While the shooter was initially unknown, Tero later suggested in snippets of his Bloodhound diss track that Trap City was responsible. Q50 continued addressing the shooting in his music, particularly in 762, released with a music video in late August 2023. He raps about still spinning while using a crutch and mocks his enemies for assuming he was dead until he went live on Instagram. The war between the former allies, Trap City and Drill City, now the Bloodhounds, was now fully underway. The violence reached a new peak on January 26, 2024.
And after the shooting, we're all caught on a nearby surveillance camera. You can see both victims here on the left side of your screen. Here on the right side, a dark-colored SUV pulls up. Underneath the train tracks, at least one person can be seen running from the car, ambushing the victim.
With the murders of Monterio Monty Drench Williams and Robert Lil Rob Boston, brothers from Nitty Block, a group aligned with the broader conflict. The attack was meticulously planned and executed in broad daylight, with the assailants gunning down the brothers in front of witnesses and security cameras. The brazen nature of the killing sent a clear message to Nitty Block and its allies. No one was untouchable. The community reeled from the brutality, and the streets grew even more tense as the cycle of retribution continued. Lil Jeff did little to conceal his involvement in the double homicide. He posted cryptic messages on Instagram, hinting at his role in the killings, which his followers quickly deciphered. His music also reflected the violence he was entangled in. Songs like Double Trouble and Street Confessions detailed the events surrounding the murders, offering a raw glimpse into his world. These tracks became underground anthems, resonating with fans who related to the harsh realities of street life. However, while his actions elevated his status in the rap scene and among the Bloodhounds, they also made him a prime target for his enemies. The feud continued to spiral out of control, with violence becoming an almost daily occurrence in Chicago's streets. Drive-by shootings, ambushes, and targeted killings plagued the city, and each act of aggression met with a response in kind. Amid this chaos, rival gangs sought to weaken Lil Jeff further by targeting those close to him. They murdered Lil Squirrel, one of Jeff's closest friends, to send a message that no one associated with him was safe. Unlike many others caught in the feud, Lil Squirrel was reportedly not deeply involved in gang activities, making his death particularly shocking to Jeff. The loss of Lil Squirrel deeply affected Lil Jeff, revealing a more vulnerable side of the young rapper. He took to Instagram to express his grief, stating that Squirrel was an innocent bystander who didn't deserve to die. In a rare moment of openness, Jeff accused his enemies of being overly emotional and reckless, willing to kill anyone in their path during moments of anger. He urged his followers to stay safe, particularly those uninvolved in street life, offering a glimpse into the toll the ongoing violence was taking on him. However, the murder of Lil Squirrel only intensified the conflict. For Jeff's enemies, it was a necessary act of retribution, but for Jeff, It was another personal loss that fueled his desire for revenge. The streets became even more dangerous as both sides engaged in a relentless cycle of violence. Each act met with another in an unending loop of bloodshed. This environment of constant retaliation ultimately led to Lil Jeff's own death, a tragic but perhaps inevitable conclusion given the path he had chosen. Lil Jeff's violent reputation. Lil Jeff wasn't just another name buzzing in the trenches. He was a living nightmare. Bloodhound Lil Jeff, as the streets called him, wasn't just a rapper. He was a menace, a demon on a mission, a certified stepper whose name rang bells in every corner of Chicago. Long before he ever touched a mic, the block was already telling his story. His debut track, The Bloody Family, didn't make him famous. His reputation did. The streets feared him, not for his bars, but for the bodies that allegedly dropped in his wake. Jeff wasn't just rapping. He was really living that life. When it came to sliding, he was no internet gangster. He was the pistol professor, and the Opps were his students. Jeff's come-up was straight out of a horror movie. Born and raised on the far south side of Chicago, he was just a skinny 12-year-old with hoop dreams before the streets pulled him in. But once they did, there was no looking back. By 2014, word on the block was that Jeff had already caught his first body. The whispers never stopped. People said Jeff wasn't even old enough to hold a gun, but that didn't matter. The hood doesn't care about age. If you got a name, you got a name. His big bro, Jay Boogie, was already putting in work, and Jeff followed the blueprint. By 18, Jeff was knee-deep in the streets, repping bloodhounds and sending messages through bullets instead of DMs. In a DJ Vlad interview, he admitted he ain't fully jumped off the porch until 18. But when he did, he jumped headfirst into the trenches with no parachute.
I'm gonna say when I came outside for real, I was like 18 type.
Okay. Most kids get told to stay in school, but Jeff's mom, she was cheering from the sidelines. His pops was MIA, allegedly standing on business with the 068C block, while his mom hyped up his street cred. In a viral IG story, she gassed him up saying, "Go ahead, son, your name ringing bells in the streets." I said, "Is that my boy?" She wasn't ashamed, she was proud. Imagine a mother bragging about her son sliding on kids he used to share a bed with. That's the environment Jeff came from. This was deeper than rap. Jeff wasn't just a product of his hood. He was a product of bloodshed. He saw Kenny Mack get murked in front of him. His family crib got lit up, and a bullet nearly took his head off. Trauma like that changes you. But for Jeff, it turned him into something different, something deadly.
Let me tell you, my crib got shot up when I was like 14. I was some stupid ass. The bullet that flew like right past my face. They had shot the back and the front, then they blew the car and set that on fire. It was busting, I ain't gonna lie, it was going on. They almost hit me, though. See what I'm saying, though? Shit like that, that play a part. I was just seeing that shit every day. I was seeing it every day, see what I'm saying? So like everything they was doing, I was seeing that shit all the time. Just like I'm doing right now. It's just I'm a part of it now.
Every day, just seeing that. I was seeing it every day. So the thing is, I was seeing that at 10, just like I'm doing right now. I'm a part of it. Jeff ain't start rapping to get out the trenches. He rapped to tell his ops they were next. His first tracks, The Bloody Family and Can't Beat Us, weren't industry, moves. They were warnings. But it was his outro on Can't Beat Us that made it clear. "I'm really not a rapper," he said, repeating it twice. "I'm really not a rapper." He wasn't lying. The streets say Jeff was behind a long list of bodies. Rob, Monty, Leal, Gutter from Hit Squad, Slide, Clay, Boogie from 95, and Baby KD. True or not, the rumors only added fuel to the fire. Jeff's rumored involvement in violent crimes dates back to September 2014, when he was just 12 years old. His first alleged victim was an 18-year-old named Kamal Burton, also known as Molly Ma, who was reportedly affiliated with the Trey Mob. The murder took place in the far south side of Chicago, in the old Goo Gardens community. At the time, Jeff was a young boy with a passion for basketball, spending most of his days training for a potential career in the sport. The idea of a scrawny 12-year-old being mistaken for a grown man in this case seems unlikely, but the rumors persist. Jeff's alleged victims are numerous, with some names more commonly associated with him than others. One of the more obscure names on the list is Ronnie L. Sear Jr., also known as Lil Gutter, an alleged member of the Crew Hit Squad. Gutter was killed in May 2021, around the same time Jeff and other bloodhounds were allegedly responsible for the deaths of several rival gang members. Another name linked to Jeff is Roger Lewis, also known as Black, a 33-year-old OG from the Evans mob. Black was shot dead in a drive-by in March 2022. However, the alleged killer was already charged and is serving a sentence for the murder, casting doubt on Jeff's involvement. In 2022, Jeff reportedly lost someone close to him, Jamarian Lawston, also known as Jay, who was allegedly part of the 066079 alliance. Some rumors suggest that Jay's murder motivated Jeff to seek revenge, leading to his first alleged killing. Jeff and other bloodhounds have referenced this incident in their music, further fueling speculation. When it comes to the more plausible rumors, these will begin not long after the death of Z-Money in March 2023, with one of the first alleged victims of Jeff following Z-Money's murder being a young man called Lil Pooh, real name Pierre Boozer Jr., who hailed from Jeff's old stomping grounds, being allegedly part of the Flipside set, who read the 93rd Street. However, Pooh was seemingly well affiliated in the East Side, with his brother allegedly being part of the 95 mob located in the Princeton Park neighborhood, while Pooh was also, according to some, allegedly affiliated with none other than Trap City, with him even having 067 in his Instagram profile name. However, in this case, there were several examples of Lil Jeff seemingly claiming responsibility for Pooh's murder. For example, on the 9th of April 2024, the French Chicago drill office yard Squid Ape would make a tribute post to Pooh on his Instagram, which would quickly gather numerous comments of people laughing at his death. One commenter would ask what he had done to invoke such a reaction, to which Lil Jeff himself would comment, saying that Pooh had been dissing Z-Money. Another one of Jeff's killings that shook the Chicago drill scene happened on the 25th of June at around 8:55 p.m. Trap City member Leal, real name Jaleel Goin, was sitting in a parked rideshare car in the Little Italy neighborhood near the University of Illinois Chicago campus. This neighborhood, sometimes now called Little Italy or University Village, is these days a truly upmarket area that has experienced high levels of gentrification since its inception. It was originally home to many of Chicago's first Italian immigrants, and the demolition of large public housing complexes during the 2000s further transformed the area. By all accounts, this is one of the safest neighborhoods in Chicago, one of the last places where one should expect to be a victim of gun violence. Nevertheless, while Leal was sitting in his rideshare car on the 1300 block of West Taylor Street, someone approached the car on foot and opened fire through the rear passenger window, shooting into the car numerous times before running away. The rideshare driver immediately took off and drove the seriously wounded Leal to the nearest hospital, which was less than a mile away. However, by that time, it was already too late, and Leal was pronounced dead upon arriving at the hospital. Most of Lil Jeff's killings revolved around the feud between his gang, the Bloodhounds, and Trap City, and considering they were once friends, Jeff had to start killing and beefing kids he literally grew up with. Jeff didn't see murder as business, he saw it as fun.
I caught me some action. Yeah, what up, Joe? How you coming? You ever seen one of these? You think you can run from this bitch? Get your bitch ass back. Ain't trying to run.
In a now infamous video, he was caught laughing about smoking someone who tried to run. Reddit went crazy over it, with one fan saying this shit was really all a game to him. But for those who knew the drill scene and its history, Jeff's casual attitude toward violence wasn't entirely surprising. After all, his idol was none other than King Von, a rapper whose legacy was as much about bodies as it was about bars. Von's rep as a killer wasn't just talk, it was built on bodies. On October 14th, 2012, Von allegedly caught Modell McCambry and his cousin slipping while they were on their way to meet a girl. Modell didn't make it, and his cousin got hit too. That was one of the first moves that put Von on the map as a dangerous figure in Chicago's South Side. But Von wasn't done. Less than a month later, on October 29th, 2012, he was suspected of taking out Derek P5 Johnson right outside his own crib. P5 was a big name in the streets, and his death sent shockwaves through the hood. But Von's story didn't end with fame and fortune. Just like Jeff, his life got cut short in the most violent way possible. On November 6, 2020, Von was caught in a fight outside a nightclub in Atlanta. Shots rang out, and just like that, Von was gone. For Jeff, Von wasn't just an idol, he was the standard. Jeff wanted that same legacy, a mix of respect, fear, and infamy. He wanted to be remembered as a killer who could rap, not just a rapper who talked about killing. And in the end, Jeff got what he wanted. But like Von, he paid the ultimate price. For more content like this, click on the videos showing on your screen now.